All right, Aquarius, thanks for tuning in to your January of 2015 horoscope. My name is Athen. All right, so the emphasis this month is on your 12th house, which has to do with behind-the-scenes activities, spirituality, presence, flow, compassion, essentially anything in your life that's very important for you to have peace and harmony and presence. And have that alone time, that connection to the no-thingness, which is what creates the peace and harmony. So that's the emphasis, and this is of course the end of the Zodiac for you, because then after this all of the fast-moving planets will be going into your first house next month, actually towards the end of this month, which I'll talk about. But this month in particular is on making sure you get enough relaxation, enough rest, enough presence in what you're doing on the day-to-day, and perhaps working behind the scenes a little bit with whatever it is that you're doing. Now this starts with Mercury going into that 12th house on the 1st to join up with Venus. So at the end of December, you guys have already enjoyed that 12th house quite a bit, and you can continue to do so by perhaps having that alone time or what have you, meditation, anything group-oriented too that's involving meditation practices, even yoga, those types of things that put you in that peaceful state. Very good this month because you'll be enjoying it. And Mercury going into that 12th house means you'll be understanding it. There will be a good conscious awareness. Now, this is of course a time for all of these areas in your life to sort of take a little bit of a break. So let the mind sort of just turn the noise volume down a little bit in terms of that this month. In terms of thinking and communicating, kind of just take it easy, take it slow, but just have that presence, and I think it'll naturally flow. And with Venus there, maybe, taking some more alone time, but, involving others on a spiritual level as well, which is perhaps a good idea for you guys to do some things like merging spirituality with people, like communities and these perhaps workshops and stuff that might be really good for you this month. So good emphasis there, but all in all, when you're having that alone time, you're going to notice it's strengthening your relationships. It's also strengthening your communications and thinking patterns with Mercury there. And by alone time, I just mean presence and flow in your life. Now, also on the 1st, we have Mars opposite Jupiter. And so this whole month, it's very important that you balance all this spiritual stuff you're doing with the day-to-day. Because Jupiter's been expanding your guys' 6th house, which has to do with health, routine, making sure you're getting enough sleep, exercising, everything's taken care of. And so lots of opportunities here, lots of expansion. So it's seeing how they're one and the same, seeing how when things are in order on a mundane level, on the day-to-day level, it improves your presence, your peace. You're able to have more relaxation, more flow in your life. And vice versa. When you have flow, things are getting done. So merging those two together is very important this month in terms of that, seeing the presence in the day-to-day and the day-to-day in the presence and the importance of each. This is especially important on the 1st and also the 19th when we have some oppositions with those two houses. Now on the 3rd, we've got the Sun going over Pluto, which is a carryover energy from last month in December where we had all the fast-moving planets go over Pluto. Now the Sun is the last one to go over. Some transformations, some changes taking place in terms of some community, group, friends, some friends stuff maybe perhaps needed to change, some outlooks on the collective in terms of the whole world, things like that. And now with the Sun going over there, what that's signifying is that it's so important for you to have this giving energy. When you have this giving energy in terms of your contribution to either the community or the world in some way, you come alive. So really see this around the 3rd, when the Sun goes over Pluto, about how when you start to give, it's a little bit more of a selfless sort of energy, but it's not, because you'll notice when you give, you're very much enjoying it. And this life force energy is really going to illuminate with the Sun, and that can be a very catalyzing opportunity for you this month with all of these changes that I'm going to talk about. So very important there. Focus on giving, especially around the 3rd. And this is seeing the community and the groups in terms of your role in them and how you can contribute. Now on the 4th, we've got Mars going into Aquarius, your first house. So there is an emphasis on your first house this month while there's all of this relaxation and R&R. So that's why I'm getting a sense of it's just important for you to make sure you're taking enough alone time and enough rest, because Mars in the first house can be very driven, very go-getter type of energy. Your goals, your ambitions are going to be in high drive, and it's good that you pursue those things this month. Just make sure it's in that state of presence and flow. You guys have had Neptune transiting your first house, so you've been learning the importance of flow and presence in your everyday experiences in your life. So merge those two together. That'll be very important. You can get a lot done and rest at the same time. Now on the 5th, we've got the full moon taking place in your 5th house. So this is a very creative month as well. This can be a month of really coming alive in terms of what your creative passions are. Maybe perhaps some of you as a high point in terms of anything new you started that's creative. There's also romance, children, the playful side of yourself, all of these things coming into a high time here, which is interesting with all of this spiritual stuff going on. It's almost like the spirituality is coming from your passion, your excitement, your zest for life. So really tap into that around the 5th. See all the abundance, all the creative abundance that you have, and yeah, implement that into all the areas. Now on the 10th, we have the Pluto squaring up to the North Node, which is the overall theme this month, from the 10th to the 16th. Last month we had the Pluto-Uranus squares going on, and now this month it's about taking some specific action, some specific changes. And this is very much in line with the North Node in the 8th house. So this whole year, 2015, and especially here in January, it's about moving towards your transformation, the spiritual, the deeper elements of life. Seeing how, while it's important to have everything on the physical level be nice, it's even more important to have a very deep connection to what you're doing. Your work, your relationships, all of these things. Also learning to depend on others a little bit more too with the 8th house there. So all of these things in terms of that is going to be very important for you to focus on. Focus on how you can, again, be a little selfless, more other-oriented in terms of how you can depend on others, how you can give more to others, and receive more from others as well, both not only physically, but spiritually and emotionally as well. And this month is going to be a catalyzing month for that transformation there. So from the 10th to the 16th, put whatever action you need to make into your life so you can enjoy it on that deeper spiritual level. Very important, and that will launch you into the rest of this year. Now on the 14th, we've got the Sun going into Capricorn, that 12th house of yours. So this is where the spirituality really starts to illuminate, becomes very conscious. Resting up, again, is very important. But overall, it's seeing your creative inspiration comes from the divine. It comes from not so much the divine as much as it's the presence, the peace, the no-thingness. When you have that silence, that peace in your life, naturally that life force energy starts to build, and there's a lot of passion here. And again, maybe creating things behind the scenes is important here from the 14th and the first half of February as well. Now on the 19th, more opposition between those two houses I talked about, your 12th and your 6th, except this is very positive, very harmonious. Venus is going to be opposite Jupiter, so while you're enjoying the spiritual things, just make sure that you are still seeing the opportunities that are available to you on the day-to-day. And day-to-day is your work too. You know, 6th house is the day-to-day in terms of your everyday work environment. Also, lots of opportunities there, so be sure to see those. But I think naturally you will from the 19th. And again, bringing more presence into your work perhaps also. Now on the 19th as well, we've got Uranus conjuncting up to the South Node. So while this whole forward moving direction is about the deeper meaning of life and others and getting deeper, it's very important that you release any old notions about your sense of self-worth. The South Node in the 2nd house can sometimes mean that, it means that you've already mastered. With this whole cycle, you're at the high point here. You've already mastered the physical, material side of life, okay? So don't worry about those things. Don't retreat into them if they're a source of anxiety or concern for you. Just let them go. Just focus on the deeper, more spiritual things, and naturally that flow will be there. Now also on the 19th, we've got Mars conjuncting up to Neptune, which is again suggesting the importance of you going with the flow with all of your goals and ambitions. And this is where Mars can become spiritualized, where you're becoming more present in what you're doing on the day-to-day and with your goals as well. Now on the 20th, we got the new moon in that 12th house, so listen to the presence, really just listen to the peace and harmony, the silence, the inner silence around the 20th. Definitely, for you guys, I would definitely recommend meditating or doing some meditative things around this time period. This will help you connect to spirit, connect to some divine messages that can come to you around this time. So listen, and whatever new, it's not even an idea really. Sometimes with the 12th house, it's just so subtle. Whatever it is, the feeling or what have you that comes to you, start to build upon it, start to embody it more and more as this cycle starts to fill up into February. And then you'll see a high time of that next month and in the next 6 months. Now, like I said, Mercury's going retrograde on the 21st into February, so be sure to continue to reflect on those spiritual matters, how you can bring more peace, presence, and overall harmony into your life. On the 22nd, we've got Venus going into Aquarius, which is your first house. So this is where things really start to shift in terms of your first house, really enjoying having the goals, the ambitions, the beginning of the cycle, feeling good, looking good even with Venus in the first house. So tap into that, and that's going to lead into February for you guys, and be yourself, pursue those goals, those ambitions, and if you can bring others into it as well, that's what Venus might be signifying for you individually. Now on the 31st, we've got Mars conjuncting up to Chiron, so feeling quite healed. If there's been any insecurities in terms of who you are, what you are, these types of things, or if you have the confidence and courage to do what you want to do, trust me, you do. Wherever Chiron is, it means you already have that confidence and courage. So I think on the 31st, you're going to see that, you're going to step into that and feel quite healed in terms of what you're capable of. And this is going to set a good, solid foundation for you guys into February. All right, so let's go and draw a card and see where Spirit would like some emphasis for you. Okay, Aries, there it is, the first house. Now Aries, though, does naturally rule your third house, so I think here this is both a message to tap into the motivation while at the same time going with the flow, but focus on your goals, your ambitions, what's important to you, your drive, your confidence. Go after what you want. And that's speaking very strongly in terms of that Mars in that first house. Now in terms of your natal chart though, Aries rules your third house, so make sure that your communications are open. Make sure you're thinking very clearly about your intentions. For you guys, because Aries rules your third, it's very, very important for you to have clear intentions. When you have clear intentions, then everything else will flow in terms of your goals. So you got to know what you want. You have to have it consciously, perhaps even write it down. Very important for you Aquarians. All right, well, I hope you guys have a great month. Please get in touch if you'd like a personal reading. You can click the link down below for the YouTube discount, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.